Thank you. Thanks. I'm here to talk about mountain climbing, and specifically climbing from pain to passion. And I'm sorry in advance because there's no TEDx event that's complete without harrowing stories and epic pictures of climbing Mount Everest. And I'm sorry because those won't be coming from me today. You see, I'm not a very good mountain climber. In fact, I have a difficult time most days climbing out of bed. I'm also missing one of the most basic introductory skills you need to get high up on a mountain. That's the ability to just rub in sunscreen. Despite my lack of technical ability and logging time in a death zone, I still consider myself a successful mountain climber. And not just because I've summited Mount Rainier several times, which is one of the more difficult technical climbs in the lower 48, but the lessons that I learned while I was up there, I applied to my life back at sea level to help make me more successful and help me go from a life of pain to a life of passion. So I want to share those lessons with you today. In that inevitable moment that we all realize that life does become painful once again. But before I share those lessons, I need to give you my backstory because every climber has a backstory. The woman on the upper left is my mother, Brana. She died when I was a year old. She was 25, leaving behind my father, a widower, with 2 kids in diapers. In fact, that's he and I kayaking in British Columbia 3 months before he died, undergoing his second bypass surgery at age 58. I was just 31. That's my sister Jody, my best friend, inseparable for decades, Irish twins, just a year apart. She developed advanced breast cancer and died at 45. She left behind 3 beautiful and very young kids. And the woman on the bottom right is my beautiful wife. In fact, this picture was taken on our wedding day in September of 2007. Now picture us on this very day, February 26th, 14 years ago. Picture us now sitting in a doctor's office where he tells us that she has advanced multiple sclerosis. And then he gave us the bad news. She has to get on a medication, which means she can't have kids. 5 months into our wedding, after our wedding day, her dream, her lifelong goal, her reason, her purpose in life to raise healthy kids was taken from her. That's not all that was taken from her. She had etched 3 goals for us on our wedding rings: love, support, and adventure. In fact, 13 months before that doctor's visit, we climbed the world's highest active volcano together in Cotopaxi, over 19,000 feet. After that day, 7 months before that doctor's visit, we climbed Mount Shasta together, a much smaller mountain. But 7 months before that doctor's visit. And now the doctors are telling us to find a house where she doesn't have to climb stairs. All that pain, all those health challenges were a gift to me. You see, I'm descending Pico de Orizaba, the highest point in Mexico, the 3rd highest in North America. And it hit me. I was exhausted and I had hours to go. I needed to do the same thing. I needed to turn things around and go from a life of pain to a life of passion. So I caught up with my buddy Crony back at the hut after many hours. I said, Crony, I want to start a nonprofit to raise money for breast cancer, for that vaccine that we found at Johns Hopkins that's showing a lot of promise in immunology. So we got back and we started Climb for Hope, which we renamed after my sister died to Jody's Climb for Hope. And this year we'll have raised $1 million. And after all those years, we didn't just raise money. We were one very small piece of that immunology that is now in the market. And the third thing that I got were the lessons that I learned. And I want to share those with you. Carry a flag. The second climb we did after Cotopaxi with Climb for Hope was on Mount Kilimanjaro. It's an amazing bucket list expedition of 5 days up through 5 climatic zones and plus a rest day before descending 2 more days. We kept leapfrogging this one particular group on that expedition, just kind of having idle chit-chat. After all 24 of us touched the highest point in the continent of Africa, came back down, we grabbed a shower, had a cocktail, and overlooked the gorgeous Serengeti. And we celebrated raising $250,000 for research and furthering the work on that vaccine. And I had a chance to catch up with one of the other members. I said, how did it go? Well, 12 of the 24 of us summited. I said, that's crazy. What happened? I said, well, Billy's feet got cold, so Tracy took him down. And Eric got tired, so Stacy took him down. I'm thinking, I've got my sister's name on a flag in my pack. Stay strong, JB. Giving her hope that she could live one more week, one more day to be with her kids. I've got the Jody's Climb for Hope flag in there with thousands of people waiting that we'd raised money fast enough to save their lives. We had names of survivors written in our packs that we promised to get their names to the summit. We had names of loved ones we had written and carried their spirit and flag to the summit. We had thank you flags to the thousands of donors that helped us raise money. Before we went out in that dark, cold night, I told them that my sister was nauseous every day for 5 years. We could deal with vomiting from altitude sickness for 18. My wife carries a figurative pack on her back every single day with fatigue. We can do it for 18 hours. And that taught me. That night, that taught me was that the value of the carrying a flag, the value of a purpose, the value of having a mission. Mark Twain once said, the 2 most important days in your life, the day you're born and the day you figure out why. And I figured out my why again on the many, many hour descent. My purpose in life is to take a bite out of disease so that other families can live more fulfilling lives. I'm rereading Man's Search for Meaning, the book about how the author survived the Holocaust. And he reminded me of the quote from Nietzsche, which is in the book. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. And I paraphrase that to, when your why is big enough, you can overcome any how. We all can climb our Mount Everest when our purpose, when our flag, when our why is big enough. And after every loved one got sick, after every terrible setback, have a health challenge, my why got bigger and bigger. And so when we were climbing our 3rd expedition in Iceland, climbing the highest mountain in Iceland, I discovered a product called skier. Much to the chagrin of my wife, I came back and I quit my day job. And I decided to use the skier that we found over there to make the first organic protein smoothie with no added sugar. So we kept people healthy by giving them a high protein organic drink with no sugar. And then we also raised money for diseases that we couldn't prevent. Monday became my favorite day of the week. I got back to my desk helping people live more fulfilling lives by taking a bite out of disease. Every Monday, I got the report of the Kroger, the Whole Foods, all the stores that we were getting to. We were in almost every national chain because everyone bought into our mission. Carrying a flag helped me go from pain to passion. The second thing I learned to get comfortable being uncomfortable. My life at sea level is so comfortable. I sit on my couch and I've got my smartphone and I can turn the heat up or the air conditioning up for my nest. I can get endless hours of streaming content. I can order food, groceries, books delivered within 10 feet of where I'm sitting 24 hours a day. I feel like I'm losing that muscle I developed as an infant of getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So I grew up to the mountains. Here we are on Mount Rainier. It's very uncomfortable there. It's 11,100 feet. Hard to breathe. It's super cold. I mean, I'm in my sleeping bag. It's so cold. Then this looks beautiful, but then 50-mile-an-hour winds came in and trapped us in our tents for 30 hours.
Just sipping on the coffee, checking out the view, listening to the wind. We heard all night last night. There, and now we got it.
Yeah, you think that's funny? What about my poor buddy Tiger out there, right? He's trying to take a leak in 50-mile-an-hour winds. The joke's on me. I didn't sleep next to him. Imagine having to go number 2. There's not a night that goes by that I lay my head on my pillow that I don't thank goodness for having a comfortable bed, or the fact that there's a warm, comfortable bathroom with a seat and a door on it. And studies have shown that repeated exposure to cold helps you make you more resilient. And that came in handy when I was on Mount Whitney, the highest point in the lower 48. We had spent too much gas getting to the summit, and I was out of gas. I was struggling to get down. And so hour after hour, I kept putting one foot in front of the other, and then I wanted to stop. My friends were lying. It was around the corner, and I realized they were lying. So I wanted to just lay down. But laying down and dying was not an option. You see, I had written my son's name on one water bottle and my daughter's name on the other water bottle. So I knew I was climbing, not to get to the summit, but to get back down safely to see them. Your flag, your purpose can change every expedition. And that was my flag on my water bottle. Hours later, I knew how far my mind could push my body because I was used to getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And I was back safe in base camp. Getting comfortable being uncomfortable helped me go from pain to passion. And the last thing I learned is to find a guide. We've already established I'm not a very good climber. This is my buddy Ricky. He's helping me fix my backpack. I still, after all these years, can't buckle my backpack. You know, Ricky takes his company always takes us up to the mountains to keep us safe, to make sure we're raising money safely and then coming back to our loved ones. This picture is also taken on Mount Rainier. You see the crevasse that's hundreds of feet deep. If you fall in it, it's not a rescue. It's a recovery. You see the several-story high ice called a cornice. If it falls on you, same result. And then there's that narrow, winding trail that takes you very close to the edge of both. Not so hard in the daylight on the descent at 10 a.m., really hard at 1 a.m. in the morning when it's dark, cold, and you're disoriented. Our guides kept us on that narrow path between the two safely and without getting lost. And I did the same thing in business. When I started the first organic protein smoothie with no added sugar, I called the guy down the street. Who here likes asking for help? No, I don't. It's dark. I don't see one hand. Who here likes helping people? We all do. We all like helping people. It makes us feel good. It gives somebody a shot of oxytocin. Well, I call a guy named Seth Goldman who lives in Bethesda. He started a little company called Honest Tea that made the first organic tea drink with no added sugar. And he kept me out of that crevasse. He kept me a safe distance away from that cornice. And he kept me on the dark, narrow trail to success. With his help, we were able to make our company the 5th fastest growing organic and natural brand in the country in 2017. We were in every major supermarket across the country because I found a guide. Seth Goldman, and Ricky are two of the people that helped me go from pain to passion. With my life looking so positive, we now needed to take my wife from pain to passion, to help her find her flag, which we did in Ethiopia when we adopted two of the most gorgeous children on the face of this earth. And now she lives her mission every single day, which was to help raise mentally healthy kids, which is all her. I, on the other hand, struggle. I work hard, but I'm still not a very good black father. There are a lot of things that I'm not getting. I don't understand all these things. Because of the for-profit company, I knew people at the Baltimore Ravens, and I got to be friends with this guy named Carl Davis, a defensive lineman for the Baltimore Ravens. I called him up. I said, can you help me mentor my black son? And then I gave this 6'6", 320-pound guy a shot of oxytocin. I'm not sure who got the biggest shot of oxytocin, me, Carl, or my son. 14 years ago today, February 26, 2008, we're sitting in that doctor's office in the waiting room just before we knew the inevitable diagnosis. And we got an email on our phone saying, "Congratulations, Mr. Buerger, your puppy's been born." And then we went to see the doctor. We got home that night and we cried and cried and cried ourselves to sleep. And the next morning we woke up and we named this, what would inevitably be a 140-pound drooly bull mastiff. We named him Mount Shasta. The last mountain that Jennifer and I were able to climb together, and his initials were MS. Because damn it, MS was going to be something positive in our lives. So tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? I want to wish you all good luck on your expeditions through life, and may you go from pain to passion.